Good evening. Dwayne here, Tack Room Bible Talk. The light's kind of different today because it's late in the evening. I'm out in the tack shed, which is also my office, and it's dark outside, so the light is very, very bright in here today. And I don't watch the Olympics. I haven't. I don't remember the last time I watched the Olympics. I don't remember the last time I watched any particular sport in the Olympics. But this year, particularly, I'm not watching. When the Bible tells us, those of us who are born again, to not be of this world, to keep ourselves separate from this world, it's not talking about a particular list of sins, although we're supposed to be aware of that. It's talking about the system. We're in the world, but we're not of this world, and we shouldn't be partakers of the system. And the system that we have today has become so blatantly demonic and so deliberately anti-God and anti everything that is God, everything that God stands for. And we shouldn't be a part of it. Now, you look at just the very opening ceremony of the Olympics. That is the system of the world that hates God and mocks God and is now deliberately coming out and doing it openly. And some would say, well, that's because Christians don't stand up and defend against that. No, that's not it. It's not our place to stand up and defend against that. Now, many of you are going to completely disagree with me, and that's okay. We're not supposed to be a part of it. And it's not that trans mockery of the Last Supper, that abomination from hell. They would not do that depicting Muhammad. They would not do that depicting Buddha. They wouldn't do that depicting anybody except Christianity and Christ, because we're an easy target. Now, some moan and beat their breasts and say, yes, we're an easy target. You're not understanding. You're not understanding. We're supposed to be an easy target. We are supposed to be the ones that are fed to the lions in the arena. We are the ones that are supposed to be willing to be burnt at the stake for our faith. But that's not our problem today, is it? The problem is not that those who will claim the name of Christ are not standing up and loudly demanding against that. That's the devil's program, and those are the devil's children, and they're doing the devil's deeds. Why would we expect anything else? The problem is we're partaking of it. Dwayne, I'm not partaking of it. Are you watching the Olympics? Are you sitting on your couch with the TV on watching the Olympics? Then you are partaking. Because it's all about money. Money's come from commercials, and commercials come from those who watch it. And if you, as a Christian, are sitting there partaking of the program of the world that is mocking God and lifting up all of the perversion and all of the things against God that God specifically warned about and spoke against, then Christians are not allowing this because they're not fighting against it. You're perpetuating it. If everybody who claims the name of Christ stopped watching the Olympics, they would know it. And this garbage would stop. But you're not going to do that. I said years ago, if everyone who named the name of Christ turned off everything remotely related to Walt Disney or Nickelodeon, it would stop. but you didn't do it. You didn't do it. And now we have some of the largest child sex trafficking rings in the world out of these places. We have every kind of perversion you can think of being foisted on your children through bright animation and bright colors and coming in softly under the radar. And your children are turning out like this, and you did it. You did it. Because you participated in the world's program. Now, there are those Christians who are wringing their hands and beating their breast right now over this Olympic ceremony. And you say, Dwayne, surely this is the sign of the end times. It's not. I think there are signs of the end times. I think the end times are close. Also, I'm fully cognizant of the fact that we've been saying that for 2,000 years. All right? In 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse number 1, this know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. So what are the signs? People openly mock God. No, men shall be lovers of their own selves. Man, men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous. We want more. We are a consuming nation. We buy way more than we produce. We import way more than we export. We're covetous. We have to have the next thing. Boasters, proud, blasphemers. There you have your blasphemy. Disobedient to parents. Unthankful. Unholy. Without natural affections. I mean, I've seen news articles of some woman married a tree. Everybody's just weird these days. Men overseas, I think in Japan, are like falling in love with AI assistants and AI girlfriends. It's not natural affections. Never mind all the sexual perversions across species, across gender, across everything else. There's no natural affections. Now we have, what's the term they use? MAPS, minor attracted persons. We used to call those perverts and pedophiles. But now people are standing up and defending them. And there's no natural affections. False accusers. See, without natural affections, truce breakers. Have you ever seen a more litigious society? Because people lie, they break. It's contracts. Just writing unbreakable contracts today is a huge business because nobody's word is worth anything anymore. False accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. So the sign of the last times is that the world is going to have a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof? No. No. You don't look for the sign of the last days in the world. The world has always been, it belongs to the devil. A lot of people don't understand that. But Satan is the god of this world. Right now, Satan is in control. God lets him. It's not like he's more powerful than God. But if you study Scripture, the world and the system that is in the world belongs to Satan. Okay? It doesn't belong to God. It doesn't belong to us. We are pilgrims passing through. This is not our home. This is not our home. We're pilgrims passing through. The devil's playground has always been hell. And the world is the devil's playground. So you don't look at the devil's playground and say, well, I think it's hard to tell because it's always been bad, but it's worse this year than it was last year. Therefore, we must be getting in the last days. No, you look at the church. You look at the church. The sign of the last days is not what the devil's people do for the opening ceremony of the Olympics. The sign of the last days is how much God's people participate. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. When I talk about the church, I talk about all the people, wherever they are, that are truly born again. If you've watched any of this, if you've watched any of my videos, any of my channel for any length of time, you know I'm not talking about any denomination or organization or I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about all of the true believers on earth. They spiritually make up the church. Okay, I don't care what label you try to put on them, it doesn't matter. All right. Now, a lot of those believers, they meet together. They'll come together in a building with this name on it, or they'll come together in a building with this name on it. And it doesn't matter, as long as they're born again, they are the church. And those are who you look at to judge how far along we are in the last days. Folks, the church today is more wicked than the world used to be. We have a form of godliness, but we deny the power thereof. We are lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. How do we know that? Because we look at the vile wickedness, the deliberately in the face of God, the deliberately mocking of all things that withhold the family unit, which God is the author of the sanctity of marriage between a man and a woman, that God is the author of. And people who hate God mock that, and they come for your children, and you let them do it. You let them do it. Why? Because there's great pleasure in those movies. Lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. The sign that we're in the last days is not what the devil displayed at the opening ceremony of the Olympics this week, or what the devil displayed, and he did when they unveiled King Charles's new portrait. That's the devil being the devil, and that's the devil's children playing in the devil's playground. That has nothing to do with God. The signs of the end days are not what is the devil doing. The signs of the end days is our state, the state of the children of God, and how far we have let things fall. We do not look at the television to determine if it is the last days. We walk into the local assembly of believers and look at their personal lives. You've got to take a stand. If you're a father especially, and a husband especially, you have to take a stand. If you're a mother, you have to take a stand. The only thing standing between the maw of hell that's coming for your children and for your family is God. But he's not going to come in and be a shelter to you if you're selling out to the pleasure. and you're selling out to the entertainment, and you're standing out on the sidelines of the outside edge, and maybe not so much out on the outside edge, and being a part of this system that belongs to the very one who set out from the very beginning to damn you and yours to hell for all eternity. Yeah, it's the last days. But it wasn't the opening ceremony of the Olympics that told us that. It was the state of the families and the hearts and the souls of the people who went to church this morning and called themselves Christian, and what they do when they get home, what they allow, what they participate in, and what they take part of. That told us much, much more than what the perverts in Paris did. Okay? Dads, be a man. Be a man and stand up and say no. Now, you may have to stand up and say no against your wife, and your kids are going to be mad at you because you let so much go for so long. But you got to pick a side. And you don't have much longer to choose. You have to pick a side. How long halt ye between two opinions? Choose you this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That's your decision, and you got to make it. All right? Wish you guys a good evening. Wish you all the best, and we'll catch you next time.